Meridian Station floated in deep space like a crown of silver lightships from 100 worlds clung to its outer rings inside. The station, the air was filtered and cool and carried the faint scent of metal and ozone. Delegates moved through its vast corridors in careful streams. Some were tall and armored, some were soft and luminous, some moved on legs, some glided, and one human girl was running late. Lena Ward ran down the curved corridor with her bag slung over her shoulder. Her boot struck the polished floor in quick, steady rhythm. Warning flashed across her wrist. Display orientation has begun. She pushed harder. Earth had joined the Alliance only 5 years ago. Humans were still new to interstellar politics, still watch, still judge. The exchange program was meant to build trust. Young representatives from each species would study together and learn how the others thought. Lena had trained for this chance since she was 16. She refused to miss the first session because of a broken transit tube. She rounded the last corner and saw the entrance to the main chamber. 2 security officers stood at the archway. They were Drakarital Skaviev, with muscle. Their armor gleamed under the corridor lights. One of them stepped forward as she approached his nameplate, read Zarkethus. 4 dark eyes studied her without warmth. You are late, he said. His voice was deep and carried easily. Transit tube malfunction, Lena answered while catching her breath. Filed the report. The session has begun. Entry is closed. It has been 3 minutes, Lena replied. Rules are rules. Lena straightened. Her back. I am assigned to this session. I crossed half the galaxy to be here. You should have arrived earlier. There was no anger in his tone, only certainty. Lena stepped toward the doorway. I'm going in. Zarketh moved faster than she expected. His hand shot out and clamped around her forearm. His grip was solid and cold. Nearby, pedestrian. Slow day. Hovering security drone turned to record. You will wait until the next session, he said. Lena looked at his hand on her arm. Then she looked at his face. Let go. Her voice was calm. Zarketh did not release her. You are attempting forced entry. I was walking. You were defiant. Let go. His grip tightened slightly. It was not enough to break bone, but it was enough. Lena did not jerk back. She did not shout. She moved. Her left foot pivoted inward. Her hips rotated. Her free hand struck the inside of his wrist at a precise angle. Not wild, not frantic, exact. The joint buckled before he could compensate. She stepped under his arm. Her shoulder drove into the center of his chest plate. Her trapped arm twisted in controlled motions. Akith lost balance. His weight shifted for a fraction of a second. All 4 of his eyes widened. Then gravity claimed him. He crashed onto the polished floor with a thunderous impact. The sound echoed through the corridor. 10 seconds passed in stunned silence. Lena stepped back and rolled her shoulder. Zarketh lay on his back, staring up at the ceiling. Lights. His shock baton skidded away across the tiles. The second guard froze. The security drone emitted a sharp electronic chirp inside the chamber. Several delegates turned toward the doorway. Director Halvorsen from Earth appeared at the threshold. Her silver hair was tied neatly behind her head. What happened? She asked. The human attacked. Zarketh growled as he tried to rise. He grabbed me, Lena said evenly. The drone projected a holographic replay above them. The image showed his hand seizing her arm. It showed her pivot. It showed his FAL director. Halvorsen watched without visible reaction. Officer Zarketh, she said, did you initiate physical contact with a delegate? She was defying protocol. That was not my question. A pause stretched between them. Yes. Then you violated station code. A ripple of murmurs passed through the corridors. Aketh pushed himself upright. Slowly. She used force. Minimal necessary force, Lena replied. Director Halvorsen turned slightly so that the watching delegates inside could hear humans evolved on a high gravity world. She said, "We are smaller than many alliance species. We lack claws and armor. What we developed instead was leverage and endurance." She gestured towards Zarketh, "Outweighs her by a large margin, yet he is the one who fell." Silence followed her words. "Release him," she said. Lena stepped back at Anza. Zarketh rose fully to his feet. His pride was more bruised than his body. Director Halvorsen faced him directly. "Delegate is not to be restrained without clear threatenders." Carr inclined his head. Stiffly she nodded once. "Lena Ward is expected." Inside Immediate Telkaki stepped aside this time. He did not touch her. Lena walked into the chamber. Hundreds of alien eyes followed her. Some held surprise, some held curiosity, few held something new respect. Took an empty seat near the front. A tall feathered Arctarian leaned closer. "Was that planned?" It whispered. "DS." Lena answered softly. "Humans are categorized as moderate physical class," the Arctarian said. "We are," Lena replied, "and someone grabs us at the front of the chamber." Director Halvorsen resumed the presentation. "The purpose of this exchange is understanding," she said. "Many perceive humanity as emotionally volatile and physically fragile." Faint wave of amusement moved through the room. Images of Earth appeared in holographic distortion. Storm cities filled with mush. Humans survive extreme climates. She continued. "We build in deserts. We build in frozen tundra. We cooperate under pressure. We endure pain." The images shifted to firefighters running into flame rescue divers, fighting violent Caesar fleets, grappling on Matza. Human does not need to dominate a room by size to control the situation. She said, "We request respect, not fear, but understand this clearly. If you lay hands on a human without consent, you may find yourself on the floor." Soft laughter echoed through the chamber. Even Zarketh, who had entered quietly at the back, allowed a low rumble of reluctant amusement. The session ended. Clusters of delegates formed around Lena. Broad-shouldered Cathari studied her carefully. "Your movement was efficient," it said. It military training?" "No," Lena replied. "Civilian martial arts common on Earth vary." "Common. Would you demonstrate the Cathari?" asked. "Perhaps," Lena said with a small smile behind the gathering. Zarketh waited. When the others drifted away, he stepped forward. "Human Lena Ward," he said. She faced him calmly. "Misjudged you. You misjudged humans," she corrected gently. His eyes narrowed in thoughtless. He extended his uninjured hand, slowly opened, studied him for a moment, then she shook his hand. His grip was controlled and careful. "I will review contact protocols," he said. "That would be wise," she answered. Faint rumble escaped him. Drakari laughed. A word of the incident spread quickly through Meridian Station. A human girl had been grabbed for being late. 10 seconds later, a Drakari guard had hit the floor. But what people remembered was not just the flit, was the calm precision, the lack of panic, the restraint. Afterward, by the next day, 3 species had requested self-defense workshops led by the human delegate. Security Command issued a formal reminder about cross-species conducts. Kith attended the first workshop. The training room was wide, with padded flooring. Delegates of many shapes and sizes formed a loose circle. Lena stood at the center. "We start with balance," she said. "Size matters, strength matters, but leverage decides the outcome." Mezakith stepped forward when she asked for a volunteer. He positioned himself carefully. "My eye," he asked before reaching. "You may," she replied. He grasped her arm slowly. This time there was no tension. "Good," she said. She pivoted, shifted, guided once again the massive Drakari found himself staring at the ceiling lights. Laughter erupted around the rooms. Arketh lay still. For a moment then, a deep booming laugh rolled from his chest. He rose and bowed his head. Slightly effective, he admitted Virtha. Workshop continued for hours. Scaled warriors and feathered diplomats alike learned how a smaller opponent could redirect force, how calm thinking could overcome panic, how control could replace chaos. By the end of the week, humans were no longer described as fragile on Meridian Station. They were described as adaptable, persistent, and wise. Too underestimate, Lena walked through the same corridor days later. This time, when she approached the chamber doors, they opened without hesitations. Stood to one side. On time, he observed. On time, she confirmed. They shared a brief nod. The station still hummed with politics and trade conflicts. Still simmered in distant systems, but something subtle had shifted. Had been earned not through aggression, but through skill and restraint. Lesson delivered in 10 quiet seconds, remembered far longer